The Galactic Bank Council met inside a shining station that floated above a neutral star. The building itself was a symbol of power, towers of silver and glass stretching into the void, with banners of every major alien civilization glowing on its walls. Inside, the grand chamber was filled with alien ambassadors, their robes glittering with jewels, their armor polished, their faces calm with pride. Into this place of wealth and arrogance walked the Earth delegation. They looked small. Their clothes were plain, almost outdated compared to the silk-like fabrics and glowing metals around them. The leader of the group, Ambassador Karen Holt, carried a folder of papers instead of a sleek holo-tablet. She had traveled across half the galaxy to reach this meeting, and the long journey had worn her down. Her eyes carried the weight of a planet. Earth was in trouble. User resource wars had left cities broken. Climate damage had ruined harvests. The economy had collapsed after trying to rebuild too quickly. People still worked, still dreamed, but every day was harder than the last. To survive, Earth needed help, not charity, but a loan. Enough money to rebuild power stations, grow food again, and join the galactic trade routes properly. For weeks, the Earth delegation had waited to present their case. Finally, their turn came. The chamber grew quiet as Ambassador Holt stepped to the center platform. She looked around at the alien faces, scaled, furred, feathered, and metallic. Some showed curiosity, others showed boredom, and a few carried open disdain. She began to speak. Honored members of the Galactic Bank Council, Earth comes to you not as beggars, but as partners. We have technology. We have resources. We have people who are willing to work. All we ask is for the chance to stand on equal ground. Alone, not a gift, so that our world can rebuild and join this greater community. Her voice was steady, but inside she was shaking. Behind her, the other delegates, scientists, economists, engineers, stood in silence. Everyone knew this was Earth's last chance. When she finished, the chamber stayed quiet for a moment. Then, from the high throne, the chairman of the council leaned forward. He was from the Varaki species, tall and thin with skin like pale stone. His eyes glowed faintly blue, and his mouth curved into something between a smile and a sneer. He tapped one long finger on the arm of his chair. "Earth," he said slowly, as if the word itself tasted unpleasant. "We have reviewed your request." Every human heart in the room seemed to stop. The chairman's voice echoed through the chamber. "Your planet has too much debt, too little credit, too many risks. You are not profitable." He paused, letting the words sink in. Then, with a sound like breaking glass, he laughed. Loan denied. The laugh carried across the hall. Other alien bankers joined in, some with high-chitting tones, others with deep growls. The sound of it was like a storm crashing against stone. Ambassador Holt's face went pale. The other humans lowered their eyes, humiliated. Around them, the alien ambassadors whispered, trading amused glances. Humanity, small, weak, desperate, had been rejected before the entire galaxy. One alien leaned to another and whispered, not quietly enough, they should have stayed on their date world. Another chuckled. Yes, a planet of beggars, dreaming of stars. The humiliation was sharp. Holt could feel it burning inside her. For years, Earth had been seen as backward, primitive, a child race stumbling into space. They had hoped today would change that. Instead, it had only confirmed the galaxy's low opinion. The chairman rose to his full height. This session is closed. Earth may try again in 10 years, if it still exists. The gavel fell. The lights dimmed. The council was over. The humans stood frozen in place, unsure what to do. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Holt gathered her papers and walked slowly back toward the exit. Her hands were shaking. She forced herself not to run, not to shout, not to let them see how deeply the rejection had cut. The delegation followed her out, silent, their heads bowed. In the great hall outside, alien journalists were already waiting. Cameras hovered in the air. Questions shot forward like spears. Ambassador Holt, how does Earth feel about being denied again? Do you admit your world is too weak for galactic trade? Will Earth collapse without aid? She didn't answer. She couldn't. The humans pushed past the crowd and reached the docking bay where their ship was waiting. As they boarded, Holt looked out the window one last time at the shining station. The banners of the galactic powers rippled in the artificial wind, each one glowing bright. Her fists clenched. The aliens thought Earth was finished. They thought humans would crawl back to their dying world, defeated. But something inside her refused to break. Yes, Earth had been denied. Yes, they were humiliated. But this humiliation was fuel. It was fire. And somewhere deep in Holt's mind, a single thought formed, sharp as a blade. If they won't give us a chance, we'll make one ourselves. The ship engines roared to life, carrying the delegation back toward home. Outside, the neutral star burned cold and distant. And across the galaxy, whispers spread. The humans had asked for a loan. The loan was denied. What would Earth do now? No one knew. But in the silence of space, the question itself carried weight. Would humanity collapse, or fight back in a way no one could expect? The Earth delegation returned home in silence. Their ship cut across the void, engines humming, but inside, no one spoke. Faces were pale, shoulders heavy, and the weight of failure pressed down on every heart. Ambassador Karen Holt sat by the window, staring at the streaking stars. She replayed the alien banker's words again and again in her mind. Not profitable. Loan denied. The laughter that followed haunted her. When they landed on Earth, the world already knew. News feeds carried the story within hours. Images of alien bankers laughing at the human delegation spread across every screen. Commentators raged. Citizens shouted. Protests filled city streets. We begged for help, one protester cried. And they mocked us. Another voice shouted, if they won't help us, why stay in their galaxy at all? The mood was anger, shame, and despair all mixed together. Within days, world leaders met in a secret session beneath the ruined United Nations dome in Geneva. The chamber was old, cracked from past wars, but it still held the flags of nations, tattered but standing. Ambassador Holt stood before them, tired but unbroken. She gave her report in short, sharp words. When she finished, silence filled the hall. The president of the European Federation leaned back and sighed. So, that is it. They have denied us again. We have nothing. No, Holt said firmly. We have one thing left, choice. The leaders stared, glancing at one another. What do you mean? Asked the African Union representative. Holt's voice was calm but edged with steel. They will never give us a loan. Not because we are poor, but because they want us to stay poor. They laugh at us because they fear us. They fear what we might become if we rise too quickly. The room shifted. Heads nodded slowly. The thought made sense. But what can we do? Asked the Asian Alliance chair. We cannot fight them. Our fleets are small. Our industries are weak. It was then that a younger voice spoke from the shadows of the chamber. A man in his early 30s, thin, sharp-eyed, dressed not in a diplomat suit but in the plain clothes of an economist. His name was Daniel Cross. He had been part of the delegation, though few had noticed him. He carried no titles, no power, just numbers in his head and ideas others thought too wild. Perhaps we cannot fight them, Cross said softly. But what if we buy them? The leaders frowned. Buy them. He stepped forward, eyes bright with dangerous curiosity. The Galactic Bank is not a building. It is not even just a council. It is a corporation, and corporations must follow the law. By law, every galactic bank must be registered to a planetary headquarters. That planet is not just symbolic. It is the legal heart of the institution. The leaders leaned forward. And where? The president of South America asked slowly, is this planet? Cross smiled faintly. A mining world. Small, unimportant, half abandoned, called Virilia. The bank bought it centuries ago, and now it holds their central registration. I did some digging. Their ownership is shaky. All debts remain tied to that planet's surface rights. Which means, he paused, letting the silence grow heavy. It could be bought. The chamber erupted with disbelief. Impossible, one shouted. Madness, cried another. Do you know what you are saying? Cross did not flinch. They denied us a loan. So why not take the bank itself? Not with war, but with trade. If we cannot borrow money, we will make money, and we will use that money to buy the very ground their bank stands on. The room fell into stunned silence. Ambassador Holt's heart thudded in her chest. At first, the idea sounded insane. But as she looked into Daniel Cross's eyes, she saw something there she had not felt in years. Possibility. Slowly, carefully, she asked, "How? We are broke. Our people are starving. Our industries struggle. How can we ever raise enough credits to buy a world?" Cross's voice was quiet, but unshakable. "Not with what we have, but with what we can create." He began to explain. Humanity still had strengths no alien fully understood. Creativity, adaptability, the ability to turn scraps into solutions. Their engineers could build faster, cheaper machines. Their scientists could invent medicine that others overlooked. Their artists and storytellers could sell dreams across the stars. "We don't need to outspend them," Cross said. "We only need to be clever. We can build hidden networks, trade with those who hate the bank, offer fair deals where the bank gives only chains. Slowly, silently, we gather credits. And when the time is right, we strike." The leaders exchanged uneasy glances. It was reckless, dangerous, but the humiliation of the loan denial still burned inside them. One by one, they nodded. Ambassador Holt stood tall. "Then it is decided. We will not beg for a loan again. We will build. We will trade. We will fight in silence, with numbers and contracts instead of guns. And one day, we will buy the ground beneath their throne." The chamber echoed with grim approval. Outside, the world still raged with protests. People demanded answers, demanded hope. Holt appeared before the cameras that evening. She did not tell them everything. Not yet. But she gave them one line, one spark to keep the fire alive. "They have denied us today, but humanity does not bow. We rise." Across Earth, screens lit up with her words. People whispered. Something had changed. The bank thought Earth was broken. They thought humanity had no path left. But deep in the shadows, a plan had been born. A plan so bold, so reckless, that if it failed, Earth would be ruined forever. But if it succeeded, the galaxy itself would never forget. The plan was madness. But madness had always been a close friend of humanity. Weeks after the secret meeting in Geneva, small groups began working in silence. There were no speeches, no headlines, no grand announcements. The world thought Earth was broken. That was good. Let the galaxy think the humans were licking their wounds. Meanwhile, something was stirring beneath the surface. It began in the factories of New Mumbai. Engineers took apart old fusion drives, outdated models the aliens sold as scrap, and rebuilt them with new alloys and clever designs. They were smaller, cheaper, and twice as efficient. What the galaxy had thrown away, humanity turned into gold. In South America, scientists worked on medicines. Alien corporations sold treatments at impossible prices, keeping poorer worlds dependent. But human biologists discovered simpler formulas, pills made from common plants, engineered proteins that cost a fraction of the price. Entire cures could now fit in a single vial that anyone could afford. In Africa, solar arrays spread across deserts, powering new industries. In Asia, quantum programmers built trade algorithms that beat alien systems by seconds, just enough to tilt markets. And in North America, artists began streaming Earth's music and films through the galactic net. Alien species who had never seen a human song or painted canvas found themselves captivated. For the first time, credits began to flow toward Earth. Not in great rivers, but in trickles, hidden, quiet, building strength drop by drop. Daniel Cross sat in a dim office in Geneva, his table piled high with numbers. He watched the credits rise, his fingers drumming against the desk. "It's working," he whispered. "Slow, but working." Ambassador Holt visited often. She was cautious, always watching the shadows, because she knew the bank would not stay blind forever. One evening, she asked, "How much time before they notice?" Cross's answer was grim. "Not long. Their spies watch every market. The moment our profits cut into theirs, they will come for us." And he was right. Far away, In the shining towers of the Galactic Bank, reports were already arriving. Human products are spreading, one agent said, bowing before the Varaki chairman. Fusion drives, medicine, art. They undercut our markets. Customers flock to them. The chairman's blue eyes glowed cold. The apes think they can play at commerce. Crush them. Raise tariffs on their exports. Blacklist their traders. Starve their credits. The orders spread like fire. Within weeks, human traders found their ships stopped at ports. Fusion drives were suddenly declared unsafe. Medicine was called unlicensed. Music and art were labeled cultural contamination. It was a quiet war, fought not with lasers, but with laws, contracts, and lies. But humanity had been preparing for this. Instead of stopping, they moved faster. Hidden trade networks spread in the dark corners of the galaxy. Smugglers carried human goods where official trade was banned. Entire colonies, weary of the bank's greed, welcomed the humans in secret. Your medicines heal our children, they whispered. Your drives keep our ships alive. We will pay you in credits the bank cannot trace. Humanity adapted, shifting, twisting, dodging every block the bank threw at them. Daniel Cross smiled when the numbers began climbing again. They can't stop us, he said. They only make us stronger. But the bank was not finished. In a council meeting high above the neutral star, the chairman glared at the reports. Their credits grow. Their influence spreads. This cannot be allowed. One of his advisors hissed, "Shall we send warships?" The chairman shook his head slowly. "No, not yet. If we crush them with force, the galaxy will see. We must destroy them quietly. A scandal, a lie, something to make the humans look like thieves." And so, the first rumors began. Alien news networks ran stories accusing humans of fraud. Reporters claimed human medicines were dangerous, their drives unstable, their art stolen. Some planets believed the lies. Others did not. But the seeds of doubt were planted. Ambassador Holt watched the news feeds in frustration. They twist the truth faster than we can answer. Cross leaned back in his chair, calm despite the storm. Good. Let them spread their lies. The more they attack us, the more others will wonder why. Doubt cuts both ways. Still, the pressure grew. On the streets of Earth, people felt the strain. Factories worked day and night. Scientists pushed themselves to the edge. Traders risked their lives on dangerous routes. Every credit earned was one more step toward the impossible goal. But how long could they last under the bank's shadow? Late one night, Holt stood by the window of her office, watching rain fall across Geneva. She whispered to herself, "Are we really strong enough?" Behind her, Cross replied, "Strength doesn't matter. Will does. They think we are weak because we lost wars, because our world is scarred. But they forget what desperation creates. They forget what humans do when they have nothing left to lose." His words echoed in the dark. And across the galaxy, whispers spread. Traders told stories of humans who built wonders from junk, who sold medicines at prices anyone could afford, who sang songs that made even hardened aliens weep. The bank tried to crush them. But instead, the humans kept rising. It was only the beginning. And everyone, friend and enemy alike, felt it in their bones. Humanity was moving towards something dangerous. Something the galaxy had never seen before. The storm broke without warning. For months, the bank had fought to choke Earth's trade, blocking ports, spreading lies, crushing contracts. Yet humanity adapted, bending every law, finding every loophole. It was a quiet struggle, fought in shadows. Then came the spark that changed everything. It began with a single freighter called Odyssey Dawn. The ship left Earth carrying nothing more than crates of fusion drives, new models designed in New Mumbai, tested in secret. They were compact, simple to install, and most importantly, cheap. The captain sold the first shipment on a backwater mining world. Within a week, half the colony's ships had replaced their old drives with new human ones. Fuel costs dropped by 50% overnight. The news spread like wildfire. Merchants told each other in hushed voices, "Buy human drives. They work twice as well." Pilots swore by them. Haulers who once could make only one run per week now made two. Suddenly, profits doubled. Within a month, Every smuggler, trader, and miner wanted human tech. The bank tried to suppress it. Officials called the drives dangerous, tried to seize shipments, even arrested human traders. But the galaxy had already tasted the difference. Dangerous, laughed one alien pilot, patting the smooth hull of his ship. This little thing saved me 3 days of travel. Humans dangerous. No, profitable. The bank's monopoly cracked. And it wasn't just engines. On distant worlds, human medicine cured illnesses that had plagued species for generations. A vial costing a handful of credits could heal what the bank's treatments charged thousands for. On trade stations, human food, simple bread, spices, chocolate, sold out faster than anything else. Alien tongues, unused to such flavors, became addicted. And in theaters across the stars, human films and songs began to spread. No one could explain it. Why simple images of human struggle, human laughter, and human love cut so deeply into alien hearts. Some cried, some raged, but they all kept watching. Credits poured in. Daniel Cross sat in his office, watching the numbers climb across his holoscreens. His face was pale from exhaustion, but his eyes burned with fire. "It's happening," he whispered. "The tide is turning." Ambassador Holt stood beside him, stunned by the speed of it. "We planned for years. But this is weeks." Cross only nodded. "That's the power of need. They wanted freedom. We gave it to them. Now the galaxy will never let go." But the rise came with danger. In the high towers of the Galactic Bank, alarms screamed. Charts collapsed. Profits vanished. For the first time in centuries, the bank lost control of markets it had once ruled. The Varaki chairman's voice was sharp as a blade. "The humans are destabilizing the economy. Entire colonies defect from our contracts. If this continues, we lose everything." His advisors spoke in panic. "We must raise tariffs higher. Seize their factories. Spread stronger propaganda." But the chairman's blue eyes glowed with cold fury. "No, they are not just selling products. They are selling hope. That is far more dangerous. We must destroy not their trade, but their reputation." New waves of lies swept through alien networks. Stories claimed human drives exploded, human medicines killed, human art carried hidden signals that poisoned minds. And yet, the stories failed. Every time a rumor spread, 1,000 merchants shouted back, "Lies. I use their drives. My ship is faster than ever. My son lives because of their medicine. I cry at their music. What poison is this?" Instead of weakening Earth, the bank's attacks backfired. More aliens turned against them, whispering, "Why does the bank fear the humans so much? What are they hiding?" The cracks spread wider. On one mining world, alien workers refused to pay the bank's crushing loans. They raised the human flag and declared, "We will pay Earth instead." On a distant colony, traders gathered to demand fair contracts. "If humans can give us freedom," they said, "why can't you?" The galaxy was changing, and Earth's credits climbed higher every day. Yet with victory came risk. The bank grew desperate. Reports reached Holt's desk. Human traders were being disappeared in space, their ships vanishing without trace. Factories on Earth suffered mysterious accidents, fires, explosions, sudden sabotage. "They are coming for us," Holt said grimly. Cross only nodded. "Of course. We expected this." "But how much longer can we hold?" she pressed. Cross leaned forward, his voice low and certain. "Long enough. We don't need to win every battle. We only need to survive until we can buy the one thing that matters." Holt stayed at him. The words chilled her. The bank thought humanity was reckless, foolish, a nuisance. But in truth, Earth was building towards something larger than trade, larger than credits. Something the galaxy had never seen before. And though the bank fought to bury them, humanity rose higher with every blow. The market was shifting. The galaxy was listening. And for the first time in history, the humans were no longer crawling. They were running. The Galactic Bank had survived wars, uprisings, even the fall of empires. But never before had a single world threatened its foundation. And so, the gloves came off. At first, the attacks were quiet. A human freighter bound for the colonies vanished without a trace. A medicine shipment meant for a farming world was seized at customs, declared hazardous. A factory in South America burned in the night, flames rising so high they lit the mountains. The cause? Faulty wiring. But humans knew better. Daniel Cross studied the reports spread across his desk. Too many accidents. Too many errors. His jaw tightened. "They're coming for us," he muttered. Ambassador Holt paced the room, her voice sharp. "Then we expose them. Show the galaxy what the bank does to silence competition." Cross shook his head. "Not yet. Accusations without proof will make us look desperate. We need evidence. Solid, undeniable evidence." The bank, meanwhile, escalated. A fleet of enforcement ships appeared near Mars, blocking trade routes. The official statement was simple: security concerns. Unofficially, it was a blockade. Every ship carrying human goods was stopped, searched, or fined. Traders began losing money. Contracts collapsed. Panic spread through Earth's fragile economy. News anchors asked the question out loud: was humanity's rise just an illusion? Will the bank crush us after all? The world trembled. But in the shadows, humans adapted again. Smugglers broke through blockades using smaller, faster craft. Colonies loyal to humanity sheltered ships in secret. And scientists found ways to hide medicines in common goods. Cures hidden inside fruit shipments. Fusion drives disguised as mining tools. The harder the bank squeezed, the more cunning humanity became. Still, the strain was real. Families starved. Workers labored without rest. For every step forward, 2 steps of blood and sweat followed. Holt knew they couldn't endure forever. Something had to break. Then came the turning point. A whistleblower. He was Varaki, a mid-level clerk in the bank, tired of the corruption he saw every day. He reached out to Holt through encrypted channels, his voice trembling with fear. "They will kill me if they know," he whispered. "But I can't watch anymore. You must see this." He sent files. Thousands of them. Contracts, records, secret memos. Proof that the Galactic Bank had cheated entire civilizations, enslaving them with false debts. Proof that they had stolen planets, manipulated markets, even caused wars to profit from reconstruction loans. And buried within the data was evidence of their attacks on Earth, orders to sabotage factories, block trade, assassinate traders. Holt stared at the files, her hands shaking. With this, the galaxy will finally see them for what they are. Cross's eyes burned with cold fire. "Then let's show them." The humans leaked the files to galactic news nets. The effect was instant and explosive. Across the stars, citizens rose in fury. Colonies demanded answers. Whole planets marched in protest. "You enslaved us," they shouted. "You lied. You stole our futures." The bank tried to deny it. Their officials called the documents fake. But the evidence was too detailed, too overwhelming. Every lie the bank spoke only fed the flames. Ambassador Holt appeared on a live broadcast viewed across the galaxy. She stood in a plain suit, her voice steady. "You laughed at Earth. You called us weak. You said we were not profitable. But now the truth is out. You are the thieves. You are the liars. And humanity will not be silent. We will fight you with every invention, every credit, every contract. We will not stop until justice is done." Her words spread like fire. Entire worlds cheered. Alien journalists called her the Iron Voice. But the bank was far from finished. The chairman watched the chaos from his tower, his pale stone skin unreadable. Advisors begged for action. "The people turn against us. Our control slips." He raised a hand for silence. His glowing blue eyes narrowed. "Then we take away what they love most. We will show the galaxy what happens when anyone defies us." He gave the order. Within days, human trade convoys were attacked openly. Ships vanished into the void. But this time there were no lies, no excuses. Everyone knew the bank had turned to open violence. The galaxy held its breath. Would the humans fold? Would they finally bow? But instead of breaking, humanity hardened. Earth's fleets, old, patched, and outnumbered, rose from their docks. Civilian ships were refitted into armed escorts. Colonies loyal to humanity sent volunteers. And everywhere the bank struck, humans struck back, not with greater firepower, but with cunning. Ambushes, decoys, traps hidden in trade lanes. The war of credits had become a war of survival. Daniel Cross worked without rest, tracking markets, moving credits, hiding Earth's growing fortune. Every coin brought them closer to the impossible goal. Holt traveled from world to world, speaking, rallying, forging alliances. Her words cut deeper than weapons. The bank tried to crush them, but with every attack, the galaxy saw more clearly. The humans were not the villains. They were the fighters, the survivors, the ones who refused to die quietly. And slowly, quietly, humanity's credits reached the threshold. The dream that had begun as a whisper in a ruined chamber in Geneva was now within reach. One more step, and the galaxy's greatest power would fall. The galaxy held its breath. For months, chaos had spread like wildfire. The bank's secrets were exposed, protests raged, trade collapsed. And yet, against every prediction, humanity had not only survived, they had grown richer. Hidden trade networks, desperate colonies, loyal allies. Together, they had poured credits into Earth's coffers until the total reached an unthinkable sum. Now, humanity made its move. The announcement came in a single sentence broadcast across the galactic net. The people of Earth wished to purchase the planet Virilia. Shock rolled across the stars. Virilia, the quiet mining world, long forgotten, technically unimportant. But every banker knew the truth. By galactic law, the planet was the bank's legal headquarters. Whoever owned it, owned the bank. At first, laughter erupted. Commentators mocked Earth as delusional. They think they can buy the bank? With what money? Alien anchors smirked into cameras. This is theater, nothing more. But when Earth published their proof of funds, numbers so vast they silenced even the most arrogant critics, the laughter died. The bank panicked. Emergency meetings were held in the shining towers of their station. Advisors shouted, lawyers scrambled, loopholes were hunted. This cannot be allowed, one screamed. They've manipulated the markets, cried another. They are barbarians, thieves. The Varaki chairman stood silent, his pale stone face unreadable. Finally, he hissed, then we stopped them in court. And so, the final confrontation was set. The Galactic Council chamber was more crowded than ever before. Ambassadors, merchants, journalists, every seat was filled, every screen across the galaxy tuned in. The air was heavy with tension. At the center stood Ambassador Karen Holt, dressed in her plain human suit, holding a single folder. Beside her was Daniel Cross, thin and pale, but his eyes burned with quiet fire. Across from them, the bank's delegation towered in silks and jewels, their lawyers armed with stacks of contracts, the chairman glaring down with cold contempt. The presiding judge, a neutral elder of the Zalari species, raised his voice. The matter before us is clear. Does Earth have the right to purchase the planet Virilia and thereby assume control of the Galactic Bank? The chamber stirred. The bank's lead lawyer stepped forward first. His voice was sharp as glass. Your Honor, this is nonsense. Virilia is not for sale. The humans twist laws they barely understand. They seek to destabilize the galaxy. He spread his arms wide, playing to the crowd. These are the same humans who brought war and ruin to their own planet. And now they dare to challenge centuries of order. They should be expelled, not rewarded. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some aliens nodded. Others frowned. Then Holt stepped forward. Her voice was calm, clear, cutting through the noise. Virilia is for sale. Here are the debt contracts, unfulfilled for centuries. By your own laws, the owner of those debts may claim the planet. And Earth now owns those debts, every last one. She placed a folder on the podium. Inside were the contracts, signed and verified. The crowd leaned forward, straining to see. The bank's lawyer sneered. Forgery. Daniel Cross spoke for the first time. His voice was soft, but it carried through the chamber. Then check them. Every mark, every seal. We bought them legally, quietly. While you laughed, we did the work. The judges examined the documents. Minutes ticked by, every eye watching. Finally, the Zalari elder raised his head. The contracts are authentic. Gasps filled the hall. The bank's delegation erupted in fury. This is theft. This is a trick. You cannot let them. But Holt cut through their noise. Her words were steady, every syllable heavy with meaning. You denied us a loan because you thought Earth was weak. You mocked us before the galaxy. But we do not beg. We do not bow. We build. We trade. We fight. And today, we buy. She lifted a single credit chip, glowing with the full payment. On behalf of Earth, I finalized the purchase of Virilia. Silence. The presiding judge looked to the bank's delegation. Do you contest the payment? The chairman's glowing eyes blazed. His hands trembled as he hissed, You will regret this, human. But he did not speak the only word that mattered. He did not say contest, because he could not. The law was clear. The credits were real, and the debts were binding. The gavel fell. By law of the Galactic Council, the planet Virilia is hereby transferred to the ownership of Earth. As Virilia is the registered headquarters of the Galactic Bank, the institution itself now falls under Earth's authority. The chamber exploded. Some cheered, some shouted in rage, some sat stunned in silence. Cameras flashed, journalists screamed into microphones. Entire world shook with the news. Holt stood motionless, her face calm, though her heart thundered in her chest. Cross whispered beside her, almost in disbelief. We did it. We own the bank. Across the chamber, the Varaki chairman rose slowly. His blue eyes locked onto Holt. His voice was a whisper of venom. This is not over. You may own the bank, but you have made enemies you cannot imagine. Then he turned and left, his delegation trailing behind him like shadows. Holt exhaled, finally allowing herself a breath of relief. She looked at Cross, her voice low but firm. We've won the law. Now we must survive the fury. The cameras zoomed in, capturing every word, every expression. And across the galaxy, billions of beings whispered the same thought. The humans asked for a loan. The loan was denied. And now, they own the bank. The galaxy did not sleep the night Earth bought the bank. From the icy moons of the outer Raxan Belt to the green markets of Telora, every screen blazed with the same headline. Earth owns the bank. Reactions split the stars. On some worlds, fireworks burst in skies. Colonies once crushed by debt cheered and waved banners with the human flag. Farmers on ruined planets danced in the dust, crying that their children would finally live free. But elsewhere, silence reigned. Leaders of ancient empires sat in their thrones, uneasy. If a single desperate planet could topple the bank, what else could they do? For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's balance of power shifted, and no one knew where it would land. In the newly claimed headquarters on Virilia, Ambassador Karen Holt stood at the window of the bank's tallest tower. The city below glowed with silver spires, each one built with money stolen from generations of workers. Now, those spires belonged to Earth. Daniel Cross entered, his face pale from exhaustion but lit with quiet triumph. He placed a datapad on the table. It's done, he said. We've seized the accounts, the records, the ledgers, the holdings, everything. For the first time in history, the bank cannot lie. Every secret, every theft, every debt is open to us. Holt's hands tightened around the rail. Then we pay back what was stolen. Every world, every family crushed by false debt, we free them. Cross gave a tired smile. You realize what that means. Billions of credits, gone from the system. The old powers will hate us. They'll call us thieves. They already do, Holt replied. But we are not here to make them comfortable. We are here to make the galaxy fair. And so, humanity began its rule, not as conquerors, but as accountants. The first act of the new bank was stunning, the erasure of debt. Worlds crushed for centuries woke up free. Shackles fell, contracts dissolved. Cities once starving for resources found new life. On mining worlds, children who had worked their whole lives without pay suddenly became free citizens. On farming moons, taxes that had drained generations were wiped clean. The galaxy erupted in chaos, but this time, it was chaos of hope. Merchants sang songs about the human bank. Colonies painted Earth's flag on their walls. Refugees whispered prayers of gratitude. For the first time, the galaxy saw the bank not as a parasite, but as a chance for justice. But not everyone was pleased. In the halls of the old empires, rulers gathered in secret. Some called for war. The humans cannot be allowed to hold such power, a Varaki noble hissed. They are too young, too reckless. Others were afraid. If they freed the debt of my people, one emperor whispered, how long until my throne is questioned? Plots brewed, assassins were hired, fleets quietly armed. The fall of the bank had birthed a new galaxy, but not a safe one. In the heart of it, Earth stood tall. The people who once begged for scraps now control the most powerful financial tool in the stars. They rebuilt their ruined cities, opened new trade routes, and welcomed allies once ignored. But Holt knew this was only the beginning. She stood before the Galactic Council one last time, the cameras burning as billions watched. Her voice was steady, her eyes fierce. You thought humanity was weak. You thought we were desperate, foolish, easy to deny. But we are survivors. We are builders. We are traders. And when you mocked us, we did not break. We adapted. She raised her hand, the emblem of Earth gleaming on her palm. We do not seek to rule by fear or to crush the galaxy under our heel. But make no mistake, humanity will never kneel again. We will stand as equals, or we will stand alone. And if you try to break us, remember this day. Her words echoed across the stars. In slums, workers cheered. In palaces, rulers clenched their fists. On starships, traders swore loyalty to the humans who had freed them. That night, in the quiet of Aurelia's tower, Daniel Cross sat with Holt, staring at the stars. We've done the impossible, he whispered. But what now? Holt looked out at the endless dark, her voice low. Now we carry the weight. The galaxy will come for us, out of greed, fear, and hate. But that's fine. She turned, her eyes sharp as steel. Because humanity has always done its best work when the odds were against us. Cross gave a small laugh. And now we own the odds. Far above them, the stars burned silently. Empires shifted. Worlds whispered. History bent. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the galaxy feared. Not the bank, not the empires, not the debts. It feared humanity, because the species once denied alone had just bought the future.